Greetings, everyone. Your cartoonist pal Stan here again with another episode of Random Encounters, the show where I use random encounter tables like the kind you find in tabletop role playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons. And I use them, plus electronic die roller, plus input from you in the chat room, to generate random prompts, random cartooning prompts. A who, and a what, and I put them together, and I draw that very thing while you're watching, while we're interacting, while we're chatting, and give some drawing tips and some thought processes stuff, and just have a good time, because the main point of all of this is that drawing is fun. It's fun for me. Hopefully it's fun for you. I invite you, of course, to join me. Grab your favorite electronic drawing app like I use, or just grab a pen and paper. Grab your notebook or a piece of printer paper or whatever you have lying around. Draw. You don't have to draw the same things I'm drawing. And sometimes that's a little complicated. Sometimes I make it more complicated than it needs to be. But you could be drawing anything you want. You could draw the funny look on my face while I'm drawing. You could draw your dog or cat, your pet, in their Halloween costume. It's Halloween today. We're here for a special Halloween-themed episode of Random Encounters. And that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to grab my electronic drawing implement. I use an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil. And the app Procreate. None of which are sponsors. This show has no sponsors. Much to my chagrin, because everyone could use a little underwriting, as the PBS stations would say. I'd be glad to list underwriters if I had any, but I don't. I just have me. But I tell you those things, the tools I'm using, because people ask, and because you'll have an idea of what I'm using to do what I do. The end. Well, not the end. We're about to go and do the show. So I'm going to grab my app, my iPad here, and I'm going to make sure everything's set right so that I can open this up over here, and you can see that this is our random encounter tables for our Halloween special. Now, usually I have 6 choices on either side. When I do a special show, I cut it down to 4. Because I try and focus in a little tighter. So our Halloween special, this time it's going to be who's and what's from fantasy fiction, fantasy role-playing creatures, but the what's are all going to be, I got off the list of popular Halloween costumes. So let's see who we have dressed as what. I'm going to start here. I've got my Halloween drawing of myself. I, of course, am Stan. This drawing there is of my ghoulish alter ego, Stab. Stan, Stab. See, good. It's a switchy thing. So here we go. We're going to roll the dice and get ourselves a who and a what. So we're going to start with a who. We're going to go once, twice, a third time. 2. 2 is our first who. And once and twice, a third time. 1. 1 is our first what. I know what I put the what on 1 was. So we got 2 is a Mind Flayer as the Phantom of the Opera. Mind Flayer, Phantom of the Opera is our first drawing. So I'm going to turn off that. We're going to go and do some sketching here. Have the right pen set up. All right, Mind Flayer, for those of you who don't remember, is a D&D creature which has an octopoidal kind of head, a very, round head with tentacles where the mouth should be, and they're skinny and creepy. It's kind of on the nose for the Phantom of the Opera, but let's see. So, zoom in a little, and we've got that for a head. Now, sometimes we come back and I'll probably do that this time instead of being quite so upright. Wow, I don't know why, but all of a sudden my nose is starting to run a little. So I'm going to mute myself for a second. And then unmute myself so you didn't have to hear that big honking noise. Hello, Michael Pastor. Poltergeist playing with a Twitch feed tonight? I don't know. Are we not coming through on the Twitch feed? You know what? I never know why things do or don't happen. I just know that I find out later that they did. All right, so I'm going to come back here. We're going to have the Phantom of the Opera. I don't remember whether the Phantom of the Opera mask. I mean, you would have to have been able to see through the eyes, right? Yeah. So it's going to have to match up. Wherever those eyes are going to have to match up with the eyes of the mind flayer. He's going to be singing about the music of the night. I don't know. That's not feeling particularly Phantom of the Opera at the moment. Not quite sure. Besides doing the mask on his face, what I can do? I probably should have thought of this before I got to this stage, so I knew what the drawing might be. I try and not think about it too much. So this I wanted this to be um, improvisational, but part of doing improv always is having a little bit of a plan ahead of time. All right, well, let's zoom him up here. We can maybe shrink him down a little bit. We've got nice long legs. I guess the big thing here is just going to be the mask. I'll be honest, I haven't never actually seen the Phantom of the Opera musical. I've seen the old black and white movies. Seen a lot of iterations, and I've heard the musical score a lot. My mother was a fan of it, but um, I never actually saw the show itself. Okay, so apparently it's working on Twitch now. Good. Stick on YouTube tonight. Great, Michael. You can use whatever version you like. All right, that's a good layout there. Let's see what's going on here. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Yep. All right. And then I mean, how much good is this one little half mask going to do when you've got a big tentacled face? But, well, as they say, I'd say the mask is a little on the nose, except you don't have one. That's, yes, exactly. I don't know. As I think this is a funny choice for the dice to have given us, but it's also one that sometimes you do them and um, you get everything that you can out of it, and then you look at it later, and there's just not a lot of there. That's part of doing improv, right? You try some stuff, and some of it works, and some of it don't, or some of it not works, but some of it has legs and winds up being a funny thing that you can show people, and they, even if they weren't here, they'll laugh at it too. And sometimes it's just, yeah, well, that was the thing. That was the thing the dice asked for, and we did it. And it doesn't have a lot of legs, as it were. A little weirdness going on in there that I didn't intend. Boop. Go. The music of the night. How's your your Halloween going there, Michael? You get a lot of visitors up wherever you are. That's one of the things for me. The last few places I've lived, you get like zero Halloween visitors. I've, for the first time ever, bought no candy because I know that I have no one coming to visit me. No one's going to pop up. I usually will have gone and bought a little just in case, and that invariably means that I've got candy that I'm going to be eating over the next few days, and I don't want that. I'm uh, making an effort to not have candy and sweets around because I don't need them. And as I say, I knew pretty well that no one would be stopping by and knocking on my door, and in fact, no one has. No one did over the past weekend when there was some trick or treating going on, as they will sometimes do, kind of plan it out and do it not on the day itself so that it's on a weekend and parents can go around with their kids. No one showed up then. No one has showed up today. And as we're now into the evening hours, I'm very comfortable that no one is going to show up. And I do not have candy that I would have invariably ended up just nomming down on. All right, there we go. Let's turn the sketches off and see what we got. Looking pretty good. A lot of lines going around this eye, and I would like to give him just a little bit more detail there without it becoming too detailed or so detailed that you can't see what's happening. Okay. Some nails implied there. And I think we've got our layout here for our I don't know. Now what I'm thinking, I've got long, I've got uh, tails. So giving him a coat with tails. I think I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to go back and change that instead. As I think about the Phantom of the Opera, a big cape, a big cloak would be more appropriate. So let's turn the sketch back on and have a look here. If I, instead of that, if I gave him a big cloak. Alright, I'm going to have to delete. Oops, I drew that on the wrong layer. I'm going to have to, here, take out what's going on around the neck. Oh, get rid of those blues that I inadvertently put on this layer. And let's go back to our sketch layer and redo that a little. Get rid of the tails. That was certainly, I was getting the opera part of that right. It was looking like an opera a jacket one might wear to the opera, but it wasn't feeling like the Phantom of the Opera. There we go. It's got a hood. I know the hood. There we go. That'll help a lot, I think. Okay. Sometimes you just need to think it through a little. And one of the advantages of working in digital format is I can easily erase. If I was doing this in physical format, I would probably either just scribble it out or quickly move to a second drawing. I'm wondering why this is feeling so restrained, and it's because I have my the size of my brush over here on the left side, right near where the hand is right now. You can see this little area here with those pips. I usually have my brush set a size larger, and that helps with these quick drawings to give them a little extra energy and make the lines come alive a little more. However, when I'm drawing for real, I use these sizes because it's a little more controlled. It's a little gives me better able to get the results that I specifically want. This exercise is not about control. It's about doing things quickly and experimentally. Alright, there we go. That's looking good. Turn off the sketches. and see that this is looking pretty good. Oh, what are you saying up here, Michael? No legs, just tentacles. Um, oh, you hid from the kids. Well, there you go. That works too. Getting the candy on clearance tomorrow. You know what? I've done that a number of times in the past. Waited for the day after Halloween when all the candy goes on sale and kind of um, treat myself. Not going to do that this year. There we go. Okay. Looking good. I like it. Let's go to the colors layer, and I will grab my gloaming brush, and we're going to go. I don't know if you remember from the past, I like to give uh, my mind flayers kind of a light purple look. Come again with my usual color shape, the shape within the shape. This purple I've picked is so light, it's almost a mauve. It's almost a pink. That's alright. Everything else is going to be very dark. Go for the purple claws. And then we will come for the faux black. This dark blue that works for the mind as a black. Now, given that the spats are usually white, but by giving that cuff above them, that works against that. I guess the cuff will just be a black cuff. There we go. Now, for the cape, I also want to do a. Nope, too close to the same color. I also want to do a dark blue as black, but I want it to be a different color. I want it to be easily recognizable as something different. So I've gone, I don't know if you saw what I did there. I went and shifted the blue that this is based on from something closer to a light blue into a dark blue. And so while they're both reading as black, you can tell that they're based on different colors. And then, of course, the inside is red. I'm already feeling like I've made these colors much more intense than they need to be, and I'm going to be dropping the opacity as I sometimes do. These are the colors I want, but they're very strong, very, very strong versions of those colors. All right, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? I want to come back to this, and we're going to do some shadow, some shading bits. just a little bit here and there. We will do the same. Oh, I need to come in here a bit. The whites are just too white, right? They're too, without some kind of shading bit, they just look forgotten. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow on them. And I often will say that what this shadow adds is a bit of texture and a hint of three-dimensionality. See, and suddenly they just don't feel as flat as they did before. I want to put little gold buttons on the spats and on the suspenders. There we go. And just a couple more little bits of shadow here. Take our black areas and give them a little bit of shading. That's not dark enough. There we go. I don't know, could you see there that the difference between which blue I was using for the two different kinds of blacks and why they look different? I'll go back and show that again in a second. So this color, I'm going to use the dropper to pick it up. You look here on the circle, you'll see where the circle in the outer circle here is down in that shade of blue, whereas the black of the suit itself is much further up into a lighter shade of blue. That's why they both look black, but look like a different kind of black, because they're based on a different color. But there we go. I think that is going to be our Mind Flayer Phantom of the Opera. So I'll come back and put my little stand down here in the corner. And we've got Mind Flayer as the Phantom of the Opera. First drawing of the evening. First Halloween drawing of the evening. Done. Let me see what you're saying there, Michael. Do Mind Flayers have chromatophores? I have no idea. All right, but you know what? I am looking at this still, and I think that I'm going to go and drop the opacity. Again, I think that these colors are right, but a little, I picked too intense. They're washing out the details a little, so I'm going to drop the opacity just not even 10%, 5 or 6%. And they drop back a little bit. And the drawing itself kind of doesn't get washed out by those dark colors. Those strong, strong colors. All right. Good, good, good. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do there either. I want to now come back, close out round 1, turn it off, turn on round 2, sketches with the inking brush, and turn on our encounter tables, and I'm going to have a little sip, and then we'll go back and do another one. Good stuff. Okay. Deep breath. Get your pencils and pens ready. We're going to do it again. Time to go on for a second. I had my one finger up. Second drawing of the evening. We're going to go back and get to the die roller and see what they give us. So we see what Stab gives us for our second drawing of the night. The once and twice and third time, 1. 1 is our who. And once or twice and third time, 3. 3 is our what? 1 and 3. So we come back here, and that is a dragon, Groucho Marx. All right, dragon, Groucho Marx. So turn off the images there, and we'll come back to the sketch later, and we'll start to draw our dragon. Dragon Groucho Marx. All right. So zoom in a bit here, and we're of course going to have. I've talked about it before. When I do dragons, I start with a roughly triangular head. And there's a lot of I do a lot that's triangular when I'm working with dragons. And kind of a triangular body because we're not going to go for a full-on dragon. There we go. I can already see this. Okay, so here we do want those tails. Groucho always is seen walking around with those a suit with tails because he's bent over. I think I want to do that. That's going to require me just clearing this out and doing it again. Because what I want is Groucho will always be kind of seen walking bent over like this, moving forward. Quickly. One hand behind his back, tails going out like this. Like so. Now I want the dragon version of that. So I'm going to have to remember to... No, I didn't want to copy that. I wanted to clear that. So now let's do that same thing. I'm worrying about the body more than the head now. Alright, so we're going to have him like this. Legs. It's going to come forward like that. Tail. Going out. Hand behind his back. The other hand out here. Holding out a cigar. And then we're going to come with our triangular head. Yes, we're not going to worry about the dragon's wings this time. seem to be getting this 2 nights in a row. I get messages um, during my show. Nothing that can't wait. All right, here we go. This is looking a little weird, but good. I can work with this. I don't know how well you can see what I've got here, but grab that, make it bigger so it fills more of the page. And let's go from there. One morning I shot a dragon in my pajamas. How I got in my pajamas, I'll never know. Of course, you know this means war. Alright, so let's go to the lines layer. I say start with something you're very sure about. I'm starting with the eyebrow. I'm really sure about that eyebrow. And that one too. Little less sure about the mustache, but not a lot less. Suppose I probably need to give him glasses, don't I? There we go. It's looking alright. Sorry, I just realized that I wasn't talking. Got so involved in my drawing that I wasn't talking. Guess I need to do a little something to make it clear. Then we have an underbelly. There we go. Turn off my... We may have it all there. Just a little sloppy on some of the lines. Not even that much, because this is it's a goofy idea intentionally. I'm not saying that as a knock against it, but that means there's a lot of room for just whimsy. As I will often say, I don't have to get the things right. I just have to make sure they're not so wrong that the person looking at them questions. You know what? And where that's going wrong is this: he's holding that cigar like a gun. So, got to think about that. He's going to have one finger over the top, one finger under the bottom, and the thumb there. There we go. And you know what? I like how those eyes came out, because I want to get that kind of half open. He's open, has a half open, and the idea of even though his eyebrows are up here, his physical eyebrows are lower, and you often get the feeling that he's wiggling them at you. And I think that these lines that I've gotten here for the dragon's eyes sell that pretty well. Let's put some scaly effects on just to reinforce the idea that this is a dragon. There we go. I quite like that, actually. Alright, so let's go to the colors layer and switch over to our gloaming brush. I think that we will have a blue dragon. Why? I don't know why. I just feel like that's what we should have. It's a little, again, too intense with those colors. There we go. And again, my shape within the shape coloring system. To help emphasize a little bit of context and contour and three-dimensionality. Now, having done that as the main color, I want to do a lighter version for the underbelly, and maybe a darker version of that for the bottom of the feet, and a darker, intenser blue for the nails. Now, I'm going to come back to my usual faux black for Groucho's jacket. Maybe a red for the tie. And, of course, kind of a brown for the cigar. Gray for the ash. I'm going to put a little swipe of light blue on the glasses to make them stand out. Oh, and I want to take that same color I used for the nails, for the claws, and use them for the spines on the back. Okay. Looking good here, looking good. Add some little bit of shading, shadowing. Not a lot, just a little. Picking places where I want to emphasize the difference. Now, this is the other thing. I guess I haven't really said a lot. When picking places to emphasize, you want to pick the undersides, the bottommost part, and then anywhere that you really want to emphasize that there's a difference in heights or difference in levels. So around where the folds of the smile, or but the lower below the lips to show that one's a little set back from the other, or here where I want to emphasize the curve of the snout or the space between the eyes. Also, nope. Also looking here and thinking that nose on the horn is just looking plain white again. And I have to do something. I think I'm going to go with a reddish gray rather than a bluish gray. Everything here is blue, so let's just put a little shadow on that, and the whole, it just, yeah, and it goes from being just a blank space to feeling like the whole thing, even the white part, has more depth just by putting a little shadow on it. There we go. I think, what else do I want to do? Well, I'm going to come back to my lines layer, and I think I want to just make it seem like he's in motion. Again, that's part of Groucho, is constant motion. And then I can put my stand at the bottom that I think we have. You know what? No, I think there's one more thing I want to add. I'm going to come in here to the black and find a very dark gray. I think I just want to put a little, just so they don't feel quite so flat. A couple of lines to show that there's some depth and movement on the eyebrows and the mustache. There we go. That'll do. That'll do nicely. We now have our dragon as Groucho Marx for drawing number 2. Let's see. Linnea is here. Hello, Linnea, with a couple of Halloween pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns there to say hi. How you doing? Michael says I'm looking up Marx jokes. Yeah, you know, I love me some Marx Brothers movies. Hello, I must be going. I cannot say I came to say I must be going. I'm glad I came, but just the same, I must be going. Yes, Dragon Groucho Marx. That was drawing number 2. I still have the book somewhere. When I was growing up, I liked the Marx Brothers movie, so my parents had got me a book called, the book's just called Why a Duck. And it's a lot of scenes from Marx Brothers movies, fumetti style, which is to say it's a picture with word balloons in it or text underneath, so that you get the whole kind of interaction thing there in a format. And it's got a beautiful Al Hirschfeld Marx Brothers cover, which is one of the things that appealed to me most. I'm a big Hirschfeld fan. But I love those, and I memorized a bunch of those routines. All right. 2 drawings down. Still some time left in the evening. Astonishingly, dearth of Groucho-related emojis. Well, you know what? Groucho not as popular with the millennials as he might be. Hirschfeld is a god. He is the line king, as they say. I've never seen. There's a really good documentary about him called The Line King. Huge. Cannot underestimate how huge an influence he was on me and my drawing style. All right, there we go. 2 drawings down. We've got our Groucho Marx dragon, and before that we had our Phantom of the Opera Mind Flayer. And so now it's time to turn on round 3. Come back to the sketch, get the blue and the ink layer, the inking brush, and we'll turn back on our encounters. Michael says, oh yes, in Fantasia 2000, the Rhapsody in Blue sequence, the new sequence for the movie, which was done very much in a Hirschfeld style. Yeah, that was terrific. That was absolutely wonderful. There's another Pixar short a few years ago about a man and a woman who see each other across a subway or an L train platform, and a piece of paper that gets lost between them. I think it was a phone number. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, that was also done in a very Hirschfeld-esque style. I can't look that up right now, but if you want to, there's a Pixar short in a Hirschfeld style about a man and a woman in the subway. And if you can figure out what the heck I'm talking about, good luck to you. All right, let's do one more drawing. Time for one more, and then we will call it a Halloween Eve. So come here, and we'll come back to look at the scary Stan, and we're going to roll it one more time. Let's see what the dice give us for our third drawing this time. Once and twice a third time, and one. No, one's not going to go because we know that one. We just did one was a dragon. But let's see what happens here. Once and twice and third time. 2. Come back. Where's that putting us? That's putting us at a sexy nurse is it's what? how about a Sahuagin sexy nurse or a Gnoll sexy nurse? When I knew I was in trouble when I put that sexy nurse on there. That's just so it's so modern Halloween. I hate that, but it's a lot of fun to make fun of. Noel. um, okay, Noel. And Linnea wants a spooky combo. Yeah, sorry, the Fan of the Opera really the only spooky thing I put on that list. Uh, so our Noel. I like to draw Noels in almost a Wile E. Coyote shape. But they've got longish necks. Alright, let's shrink that down so we can do more with it there. And I'm going to go for figuring out a Gnoll body shape first and then go from there. I'm not sure about this whole. You know what? I thought it was very funny when I put it on there with the sexy nurse. And I'm finding it less funny right now. But. I put it on there. The dice gave it to me, so I'm not gonna walk away from it now. Go. Alright, let's make that bigger as our rough shape for the character. Exactly how we're going to make this work. I think we're going to have big sleeves there. Tell you what, I want to get his front arm out of there and do something else with it. I guess we'll get a little red cross on the shoulder patch to say nurse. I don't know. Okay, that's looking all right. Dietrich Knolls are gnarly. Yeah, well, Tony D, that's just some awesome. All of his stuff is pretty awesome. But yes, his Knolls were very distinct and really played up that kind of hyena esque um, style. All right, there's a lot of scribbling going on here, but I'm seeing what I got. I think. Okay. Is that too scribbly for you? Did I ever work with Tony? I did not ever have the pleasure of getting to work with Tony. I know a lot of people who have. I've met him on a couple of occasions, um, but I did not ever get to work directly with him. But you know, career's not over yet. It could happen. I think I want to try to. Did I go? No, I get rid of those to begin with because I'm on the wrong layer. Go to the lines layer, and I'm going to do the same thing though. I'm going to start with the neck here. And our tell you what, Linnea, our sexy nurse is not going to be pleased about the situation either. I speaking of Tony, I followed him in the. I mean, I've loved all the stuff he's done in recent years. The books he's written with Holly Black, the Spiderwick books, and his own Wandala novels. Super talented guy in so many respects. Um, but during COVID, he started doing live stream drawing with folks. He's one of the people that inspired me to step up and do what turned into this channel. Um, so, yet another way that he was inspirational for me. Besides all the great art from the second edition Monster Manual, and beyond, right? But that's where I really started noticing Tony. and the world did too, right? Those were his. That was his big break-in to uh, um, gaming art and professional art in general. Um, I've certainly have seen a bunch of interviews where he says, before that he was doing stuff locally down in Florida, and some stuff with the art school where he was going, but it was the getting the assignments to do the stuff for the second edition Monster Manual that um, that really put him on gave him his first big break, and immediately put him on the scene as someone to keep an eye on. See what's going on here. I think your years overlapped. Uh, yeah, Tony. So when Tony was getting to work, Tony's, I think, a little bit, either a little bit younger or a little bit older than I am. Probably a little bit younger. Um, but while he was breaking in, I was, so when the Monster Manual came out, that was just, the second edition books were just as I was graduating college, or just after that. So yeah, he and I are going to be about the same, certainly in the same age group, about the same age. But he was doing professional work while I was, getting my feet wet. I was doing professional work, some cartooning work, but I wasn't really pursuing it. I was getting ready to go to Japan to be an English teacher at that phase. And he was hitting the art world and the gaming world and taking off like a rocket. All right, let's turn off the sketch layer and see what we've got here. That's looking okay. Not not anything that I try to sell to a magazine, but you know, pretty good for an internet show. Here we go. Our sexy nurse Gnoll. Yeah, I think that's about right. Let's add some color on that, and we'll see that this is the thing. Yeah, he had just graduated from art school wherever he was, somewhere in the Tampa area. I think that's where he's from. Anyway, um, and uh, let's say he'd done some work. I've seen him talk about this a fair amount. That you know he was doing some caricature. He'd done some caricature for a local radio station, rock and roll caricatures, and sold some other stuff like that, and was looking to maybe get into uh, book illustration, children's book illustration, and this whole D&D. Apparently, he wasn't. He knew what D&D was. He thought it was a cool assignment to get. This cropped up, and like I say, very appropriately, the world took notice. Do you remember on top of the D&D stuff, then he did some work doing a comic for Werewolf, uh, Werewolf the Apocalypse, the White Wolf game. I love those. They didn't go over great, as I recall. The fans didn't love them as much as they deserved. But I remember them very, very fondly. I don't know what's going on here. But I kind of like it. We'll give this skirt candy striper pink stripes on it. This is weird. But, that was kind of the point in even putting down sexy nurse as an option. Is how weird it is. Okay, let's add a little shading and call this done. Ooh, excuse me. Belch. Belch on the air, why don't you? I'm I'm happy with the with the just kind of forlorn look on our Gnoll's face here. So, how did I get into this? How did I wind up dressed like this? Who did this to me? Sorry, Gnoll, it was me. All my fault. Here we go. Trick or treat, sexy Gnoll. Sexy nurse Gnoll. Sexy Gnoll nurse. Ooh, wrong brush. There we go. Done and done. Got the new Planescape box set variant just for his art. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the new Planescape box set. Um, I'm hoping to go over to a friend's house and look through it sometime in the near future. All right, there we go. Sexy nurse Gnoll. Sexy Gnoll nurse. Gnoll sexy nurse. Nurse sexy Gnoll. It's a thing. There we go. We got our sexy Gnoll nurse, or sexy nurse. I don't know why that is so hard for me to figure out how to say it, but it's a Gnoll sexy nurse. We have Dragon Groucho Marx. Then we have a Mind Flayer fan of the Phantom of the Opera. These are our 3 Halloween drawings. Thank you, Michael, for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, Linnea, for stopping in. I know we've had 5 or 6 other people who've been hanging out with us too. Thank you, too. Really appreciate you tuning in on this Halloween Eve and hanging out. What else do I want to talk about while I have folks on here? As you know, I've been talking a lot about the Kickstarter that had been going on and successfully funded just a couple of days ago. But I'm here to tell you that if you did not get in on it and you still would like to, Kickstarter now has opened a thing called Late Pledges, and we're keeping those open for another couple of weeks, at least a week or 10 days. So you still can get a copy of, let me switch out of here, the 50 Years in the Dungeon calendar, which has my drawings, my cartoon homages to classic pieces of D&D art. And is a 2025 calendar. Ooh, Dark Sun. So yes, you still can. Same address that the Kickstarter ran on. You can go there. You can go to newstandproject.com, and that'll take you over there. But that's really, this is the last chance. The next week or 10 days that's open. After that, that's going to be it. In the meanwhile, those drawings were all done as part of my other show, my Wednesday night show, which is 50 Years in the Dungeon. There is a free newsletter to go with that show, 50yearsinthedungeon.substack.com. Go check it out. Another thing I want to tell you about, I don't have a rollover image to show you for this, but there's a new place where if you want to get my art on stickers, you can. I'm selling that now regularly. It's at Stickers by Stan. Easy to remember. I don't have to put it up on the screen. Stickersbystan.com. And you can see the Halloween themed stickers are up now and will be until sometime next week. So you can go have a look. Maybe pick up some for yourself. The sticker, the main sticker, the sticker of the week, is based on a drawing that I did on this show in the spring, I think. Maybe, was it last Halloween? I don't know. I don't remember when. It might have been, weirdly enough, it might have been for Valentine's Day. I don't remember why, but the drawing of it's a witch and a dragon holding hands, and it's awfully cute, and it's available as a sticker. So go check that out. Stickersbystan.com. Whew. All right. Well, I hope that you all have had a fun Halloween. that the ghosts and ghouls who visited you were all friendly, that you got lots of cool candy or other sweets to eat, and I hope that I'll see you back here next week for another episode of Random Encounters Improv Cartooning, where we will do some improv cartooning. Till then, take care, everyone. If you're in the U.S., but before we see you next time, it will be election day. My politics. If you watch my my social media, should be very plain to you. I'm not going to preach that. I am going to preach, though. Make sure you vote. It's super important. Super important. So, take care.